Hey, paisans, the time has come. On the air since 2009, the independently produced, non-FCC compliant champ of video game talk podcasting. Here comes Tiger Claw Radio. Here's your host, Critical Failure.
Yes, friends, Tiger Claw Radio. Thanks for tuning in. It is September. This is being recorded on September 28th. Monday morning, I'm putting it together again. Oh my goodness. But it's been a great week. I've been able to experience some great video games in those little moments in between tons of work. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to jam to some chip tunes, and we're going to have a good time. Stick with us. You're listening to Tiger Claw Radio. That's J. Arthur Keenes with the what is the name of that album? The Mighty Social Line? Trails is the name of the track. Well, this guy used to make chip tunes that would top the popularity and the downloading charts back in the 8-Bit Collective days. Okay, this was a big time chiptune guy. Sort of transitioned at some point off of chiptunes onto just him doing his normal thing. And I think that's around the time that that song came out. Very good music, though, in my opinion. All right, boys and girls. So I did manage to get somewhat of a captain's log not too long ago, so we're going to go ahead and roll that. More when we come back. Evening, everybody. It's the captain's log. This is 8:58 on Thursday evening. I'm not exactly sure how much of this I'm going to be able to do, but I did want to take a minute to talk about our good pal Sendu over at Light Studios. Now he and I kind of went back and forth about this publicly over the last couple of episodes. Man, oh man. Sendu rounded up a box and sent it my way. And it had an Xbox One in it. It was not... it was an unprompted... act of kindness that he just decided to do. And it was super, super cool. So I hooked this thing up. It came in the mail. Yesterday it came while I was working. In the evening time. Got it upstairs. Brought it into my office. Hooked it up. And it's been a while since I've messed with like a modern system. It's the first time I've played. Well, it's not. Apart from some brief sample. Ooh, look at that! Some brief samples of the PS4. This is the first time I've really played a system from this generation. So I had forgotten that everything has to update all of the time in this generation of gaming. So, of course, I hooked the thing up, got it on the Wi-Fi, got connected to my old Microsoft account, because I played Xbox 360 a little bit. And I was like, no problem, fam. Good to see you. Enjoy your 4 gigabyte update. So that was great. That was my first experience with the Xbox One. But, to be pleasantly surprised, and I got it on right now, a lot of the games that were in my my Microsoft account from my Xbox 360 days are here and ready to go. I didn't download them all, but I did get a few of them, particularly Guardian Heroes. I was mega pumped about. Guardian Heroes and Geometry Wars 2 were both games that I had on the Xbox 360 that I don't really have anywhere else. Geometry Wars is everywhere. You can get I have the original Geometry Wars on Steam. I've had it for years. But Geometry Wars 2, for whatever reason, Xbox only. So, unless it turned up on the PSN and I just didn't know it. So that's cool that I'll be able to play that again. And then, of course, Guardian Heroes. I have a Sega Genesis now, but I'm pretty sure that's a mega expensive game. I used to bring my Xbox 360 up to MagFest years ago. Last couple of years I hadn't been doing it, but probably like 3+ years ago, I'd bring my Xbox 360 up, and I'd play King of Fighters 2002 Unlimited Match, which I have on the Xbox. That works here. It's great. And we'd play Guardian Heroes. 2 games my buddy NG has always been about. That I've had, which is super cool. And those, so I installed those right away. Now, the only real games I've been playing, to be perfectly honest, has been Geometry Wars 2. I have it set up so that I'm using the small TV on my desk. I have a 3-monitor sweep on my desk, but the right-hand monitor in that sweep was replaced with a small television of about the same size for work purposes. So now when I'm not at work, I can just flip over and play the Xbox on it, which is actually really, really cool. And Geometry Wars 2 is filling that gap with, a quick game that I'm enjoying. I don't know, man. I really thought and said a lot of bad things about the Xbox throughout the last two generations, but around this generation in particular, because the launch was so rocky for the original for the Xbox One. They wanted to do all these crazy ideas with games being locked down, and I don't know. The launch was bizarre, but I'm really enjoying this. This has been super cool, especially since they've done away with the Xbox points, the Microsoft points system. That's all gone now. So, like, as far as I understand, I could go to the store, the Microsoft store, and spend $5 on a $5 game, and it would be $5 instead of, oh, you got to spend $20 or however much on a package of points, and then you could spend the stupid points on your games. And by the way, good luck figuring out how they convert. Yeah, what are you going to do? Game Pass. They are pushing this Game Pass thing, which I think is dumb. Yeah, I'm not sold on Game Pass. I think that's a gigantic pass-a-rooney for me. But I probably spent, like, I've been playing Geometry Wars 2, but I haven't bought any new games for this machine, and I don't own any Xbox One discs just yet. So the thing I've done the most has probably just been looking around the store and just seeing if there's anything that catches my fancy. I don't know. I'm kind of interested in GTA 5 because I have it for the computer, but my computer is like not well enough to run it, at an acceptable rate. It looks really bad on the computer for me. So in order for the computer to be a viable option, I'd have to buy a new video card. I don't know. Maybe it's just time to buy a new video card. Who knows? But I don't know. It's been cool. I was pleased to see this. There just happens to be a Resident Evil sale, by the way. I was pleased to see Doom 64 made it out for the Xbox at the same price it got released on Steam as $5 regular price. So my hat is off to Bethesda. They did a good job making good old Doom 64 accessible and fairly priced, which is awesome. Big time hats off to them. So yeah, Radiant Silvergun I think is in my buy list because that is a game I'm not going to be buying on Saturn because it's super expensive. Apart from that, don't know. I've just been enjoying cruising the library, checking it out. And then I will get back to you with what I actually settle into. I kind of feel like getting a racing game for this machine, to be perfectly honest. But we'll see. We'll see. Oh, while we're on the subject, my good old Canva Obsidian. I'm talking about my Mega arcade stick. No, that's not Xbox. It's PS3, it's PS4, and it's PC, but it's not Xbox. So I don't have a working arcade stick for this machine yet. No big deal. It happens. All right. It's after 9 o'clock. I got to get up early tomorrow for work, and this is like the last stretch in September. As I get closer and closer to the end of the month, the days get worse and worse and worse. and then there's a big cliff on the last day of the month, and from October on, from the 1st of October on, then the pressure eases up. So for now, I got to get some sleep. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm looking at this Ducati 90th anniversary game on Xbox, which is currently going for $250. This is going to be bad, man. I know this is going to be bad, but I'm going to be honest. I'm kind of thinking about it. Just because I don't know what it is. When I get a new console with these downloadable titles, it's been like a tradition that the first game that I buy is always an awful game. And it's always like a game I know is going to be awful, but I just decide to take the plunge anyway for some dumb reason. To lay out some history, and I know I've gone through this before, so bear with me. When I first got the Wii, and all of the online features were still active and ready to go, first game I bought was a game called Sandy Beach, which was a tech test from Konami, where you could basically build with blocks, using the mouse or using the motion controls. When we got our PS3, excuse me, the first game that I got was the PS1 port of SimCity 2000. I don't know what on earth possessed me to buy SimCity 2000 for the PS1, for the PS3. I have to think it's because my wife was really into SimCity at the time, and I was trying to make the PS3 something that she could enjoy too on some level. And that was like my attempt, and it just didn't work out. I can't remember what the first game I bought for the Xbox was, to be perfectly honest, for the Xbox 360. I bought a lot of dumb games for the Xbox, though. A lot of dumb games. I somehow think that system might have been the exception. But I'd really have to go back into my account and check it out, and I don't think that's going to happen. Alright. With that, I'm going to send you guys back to the studio. I will see you whenever I'm able to do that. See you there. Back again in the studio. We're about 18 minutes in. I want to take a minute to thank the Patreon sponsors. This is a Patreon-sponsored program. These are the most patient people on planet Earth. They've let me do what I need to do to make sure the TCR can come out, even though it's just been an enormously busy time with work and all that. Typically, I offer the Patreon sponsors early access to the show. I try and get it done Friday or Saturday, and then it goes up for them, and then for everybody else Monday morning. I also read their names off in a hall of distinguished gentlemen. They are Hemrock, EmeraldRangers.com, Tecmo Balls, Darabka, Konstantin Kelman, and Eric Controller. Thank you guys so much for being patient and for hanging out. I hope you're enjoying the party. Let's talk some video games. Alright, let's see. I spent the evening last night playing Battle Block Theater, which is a good one. It's funny because I did that on Steam, just chilling out, playing some platforming. Whether you've played this game or not, you have played this game in some other form, called something else, looking slightly different. But it's a good time. The thing is, when I look around on the Xbox store, I see a lot of games like Battle Block Theater. So one of the things I'm trying to do is not to rebuy games I have already, like Battle Block Theater. I might Alien Hominid, I'm interested in playing. It's the same artist, same developer. That might be fun. But I have so many games on Steam. I'm just reaching a point where it's like, if I'm gonna get a game, it's got to be a new game. I'm not gonna pay money to port one of my Steam games over to the Xbox. I don't know. That's just where I stand on it. I don't know. I even that, there might be exceptions to that rule, because there are a couple of games that I have on Steam that just don't work well on my computer that I would play on the Xbox. 2016 Doom doesn't work very well on my computer. That was the first game I ever played that was like really pushing the hardware. I had to drop the settings down to like 0 to play it. Yeah. But what is the Xbox now? Right now, it's just the Geometry Wars 2 machine. That is the game that I play consistently every time I turn it on. You can take it to the bank that I'm going to play around a Geometry Wars or not. Geometry Wars 2. That's a good game. That's funny because I remember when I got... Oh, excuse me. When I got that game, it seemed like everybody I showed it to saw it as like a visually repulsive game. Just because there was too many flashing lights, it was too bright, I don't know. But I really dug it. I still dig it. I wish that one came on Steam. I would have bought it years ago. Alright, this is me checking out my old archive of chiptunes that I have on my phone. So specifically, these are not ones I've set aside to play on the show. These are ones that I keep for the drive to work, and I haven't had to do the drive to work in like 6 months now. So I'm revisiting these for the first time in quite a while. And this was the Chip Love album, which was a compilation I found on Bandcamp. It's free. I just looking for chip tunes to play on the show one day, and I came across a real winner. So this is the first track on the Chip Love compilation. More when we come back. You're listening to Tiger Claw Radio. Well, that's feel-good stuff. I received a community award on Steam. What does this say here? Extra Steam points headed your way. You've received a community award by others for sharing items on the Steam community. Oops, it went away. It's one of my guides. Hold on a second. It's loading up right now. I really like the Steam guide system. It's always something I've enjoyed. Community driven knowledge base for video games. I think it's a great idea. It's been done, I think, in a couple of different ways throughout history, but I think this is my favorite implementation. It's not the most widely used. I think the most widely used was probably GameFAQs. People would do these, but I enjoyed Steam. I don't know. I just liked being able to right-click while you're inside the game and then check out some community guides. So I made quite a few of them over the years. And this is one that I made for Sin Gold. And somebody gave me an extra helpful award. And I'm trying to load it up because I didn't really care much for Sin Gold, to be honest. Yeah, this was cheat codes. Sin Gold cheat codes. 12 people favorited this. 518 people looked at it. Yeah, okay. I could see that being praiseworthy. It's just a dump of the cheat codes, but I took the time to code in like an HTML table so that you could so that it put them in like a chart to make them readable. That's funny. Well, big thanks to that guy. I really tried to get into Sin Gold. I don't know what it is. The Sin series. It's got a lot of the things that I would like in a game. It's a first-person shooter. It's an early first-person shooter from like the late Quake era, and it just I got lost. I got hopelessly lost the few times I tried to play it, and I don't know, man. I can't get down with games where I'm just gonna wander around aimlessly. You know what I mean? I think that's why I never really got into Metroid, because it was the same story with me in Metroid. A few times I tried to play it, I would always think, man, this is really cool when I first would turn it on. But before long, I was wandering around aimlessly, and I was like, I'm done. The most fun I had with the Metroid series, believe it or not, was with a fan game called Minitroid, which to this day is a tragedy. That's something that you just can't find anymore. Alright. So we're about almost 28 minutes in. Let's see if we can shift gears and jump over to the fail bag. First one comes from Hemrock, who he wrote me directly, so thank you so much, Hemrock. Hey, CF, thank you again for harnessing the power of the Kool-Aid Man and putting together another episode in September. Yeah, man, no problem. You spoke of the Ouya last episode. Do you still use it, or is it essentially a dead console to you? You know what, man? The Ouya was a console I had a lot of fun with. It's funny, I was such a huge fan of the Ouya, I actually took heat for it. Like, I got made fun of by multiple people for being into the Ouya. But it's been a while. I had to clean house, and I didn't get rid of it, but it did go in the closet. I don't have enough space to live that dream of getting all the systems hooked up at once. It's just, it doesn't work for me. I don't have enough zip ties. I don't know what it is. My cable management isn't up to par, but every time I try and do the dream where it's like, I hooked up all my systems to one TV, it doesn't work. It doesn't work, not for me. So the Ouya for now is in a bag in the closet. And the last time I got the Ouya out and really had fun with it was when you were at my place and we recorded that footage, I think. And it was like, and that turned out to be like 2 weeks before the online services all shut down for the Ouya for good. Good console, though. Getting back to the email. You also mentioned Final Fantasy. I recently watched a YouTube video about the epic drama of a man who, in Final Fantasy VII, got Cloud and Barrett to level 99 in the first reactor. He was dubbed an internet hero. What? Here's the video if you're interested. That is some next level stuff, man. Thank you for answering my email. Although we have done a desert island question before, I don't think it had the same reactions and and it's been a couple of years, so why not do it again? Of course, why not? I figured you might need content during the difficult month. Nice list, by the way. I like how you chose different types of games. Yes, I have a desert island question for you, Hemrock. By the way, if you were on a desert island, surrounded by savages that wanted to kill you, and you had to make your battle armor out of video game consoles, which video game console would you choose to make your battle armor out of? My choice would be the Super Nintendo, because when I was a kid, I saw my father try and destroy a Super Nintendo with a rubber mallet, and he couldn't do it. So at least I would be protected from rubber mallets. Did you ever play Unreal Tournament on the original Xbox? If so, is it any good? I played a game on the original Xbox called Unreal Champions, which is... I don't know if they ported the original Unreal Tournament, but Unreal Champions was like the Unreal Series bid to get on the Xbox. And I got that game the same day I got the original Halo. I remember it being not good. like it was functional, but something about, I can't really quite pinpoint it, but there's something that Unreal Tournament had that Unreal Champions did not have. I think it was like the way you would set up the bots. Unreal Tournament had a bot setup feature where you would, all the bots would get names and personality traits and what they looked like. And so when you stepped into a single player match offline, the bots came from a pool that you designed. So it was like you knew everybody, right? You could make Farty favors pistols and, or whatever, that kind of thing. All that was absent from Unreal Champions. I remember the map work being decent. Like, it wasn't a bad game at all. It's just that it was lacking something that Unreal Tournament had. So I don't remember it being very good. I would play it again, though. Unreal Champions. And again, I got it like the same day I got the original Halo. So we knew right away that Halo was easier to play because Halo has a little bit of an aim correction, whereas Unreal Champions does not. So we found Halo easier to play. I finally booted up the Windows XP machine and ironed out a new version of my Civ 2 scenario. Please see attached. Awesome. Yeah, Hemrock's Civ 2 scenario is the real deal, boys and girls. If you like old strategy games, dig up SimCity. Dig up Civilization 2, and this is the real deal. You got to find some way to release this to the. Oh, he did. Yeah, you got you got this on Civ Fanatics, I believe you mentioned, and you said the public reception was underwhelming. Don't be discouraged, man. That's just the way community-driven content works. You can't. Even if you make a masterpiece, you can't expect the internet to throw up their hands and go crazy for it. I think my role model in that sense would be good old Retro Kaiser. I've seen him multiple times on Twitter saying, stop worrying about trying to be famous, stop worrying about trying to be successful, just make what you want to make. And I think he's absolutely right. You made a killer mod, and it's popular in this circle, my friend. It's back to the email now. I'm looking forward to the Jumbo, aka Mini Monster Cast version of TCR in October. Yeah, me too. That'll be a good time. Hang in there, mate. Hemrock. I gotta see this video he's talking about the guy who went to level 99 on the first reactor, because that's I don't know. I'm gonna pause for a second so I can check that out. Well, let me just say, I checked out the video, and to be honest, I wish I hadn't. Here's the whole story. Guy talks smack on GameFAQs.com. Then a bunch of people say stuff, I don't know. And I lot of hatred. And animosity. It's funny because you can clearly see if you watch that video, that is a task that has driven someone crazy. That's it. There's no other way around it. Interesting story though, man. Hemrock, good to hear from you, man. We're heading now over to the YouTube comments where I know he shows up one more time. You might remember last week I had some trouble getting the episode posted. For some reason, multiple times I uploaded the same episode from the previous week. This week we're not going to have that trouble. You uploaded TCR 352 again. Last week's TCR. Good Lord, I'll fix it, I promise. Thanks for being patient. Work is absolutely killing me. Take your time, just want to inform you that there's a problem. And then we get to the real stuff. 7 minutes and 36 seconds. I always pull out before the end. TMI. That's Alex Swingle. Glad you're still listening close enough to give me a hard time. Hope you're doing well. That's my reply. I'm doing well as anyone can be. My arms haven't locked up in over a week, but the nausea is still strong. SIBO. be a mighty discomfort. Yeah. Well, that was ultra graphic segment on the show. Not there yet, but I eagerly anticipate it after this R&B instrumental. Oh, what a weird exchange. Alex, man, wishing you all the best. Hope you're recovering and doing better, and I hope this nonsense is giving you some sort of distraction. What else we got? Light Studios. I'm down for a Sonic Cast collab. Yeah, that sounds great. Let's set it up, man. Early in October, let's set up a time where we can just do like a call, and we'll get something down. Hemrock likes that idea. He responds with fist pump. Yes, fist pump indeed. Hope you're doing well, man. Doesn't 101 writes 25 minutes in. Analog makes nice products, but they are certainly aimed at a luxury retro gamer market. Their pre-order windows are notoriously limited, and they are another company that caters to scalpers. It's kind of disappointing. Their products are arguably worth the price, but in most cases I would rather go with a different product. An hour and 3 minutes in, he says, I love the 32X. Some of my favorite games are Shadow Squadron, Mortal Kombat 2, Afterburner, Space Harrier, Doom, Star Wars, Arcade, and T-Mech. That's cool. Once prices go back down... When prices go back down, I'll have to check out the 32X. It's been on my to-do list for years. I just never took the plunge. Death Adder writes, I really don't have a whole lot to add to this week's episode. I did enjoy the epic battle he had against a sleepy, overworked CF to get this uploaded, though. I find it funny that Microsoft gets trolled about it ain't got no games, so they spent $7.5 billion and bought like 8 game franchises. Lol, get wrecked, Sony. Nah, whatever. But it was a thing that happened in the world of video games. That's right. Glad you mentioned that. Quick break from the comment. Microsoft bought... Let me see if I get this right, because it's going from memory. Microsoft bought Bethesda ZeniMax, for $7.5 billion. Take that, Elder Scrolls fans. Now, Daggerfall, in its entirety, is going to be an unlockable in Minecraft. When you're down there hunting for diamonds, you can find a complete in-box copy of Daggerfall, playable in your little Minecraft hut. Or better yet, DLC outfits in Daggerfall. Come on now. They can make it happen. Yep, I just made all my comments go away. What did I do? Yeah, here we go. Alright, here's a fantasy scenario for you. You could physically own the complete collection for 3 video game systems of your choosing. If you wanted every NES, Dreamcast, or PlayStation 2 game complete in box, it's yours for life. These games will never break, and you aren't allowed to ever sell them or trade them. But for an entire year, you could only play 1 video game, and you'd have to live stream it for 40 hours a week. The game. Life is Strange on the Xbox One. No mods. Not only that, but you couldn't listen to any music except for one long The Song, Dig Dig Diggity Dog. If you randomly turn on the radio in the car, it's Dig Diggity Dog. Turn on your Android phone at the gym, it's Dig Diggity Dog. If you're walking around in Sears and the music plays over the speakers, Dig Diggity Dog for 1 entire year. Would you do it? Yeah, probably not. Probably not. Probably not. Not because I'd want to escape the horror of Dig Dig Diggity Dog, and I wouldn't want a full-time job of playing Life is Strange, but it's just because I'm already in that situation where I have all the games. I'm never gonna play all the games I have. It's physically impossible. But you mentioned, let's see, if I could physically own the complete collection of 3 video game systems. That's a lot of video games. Think about that. Let's say for those 3 game systems, I chose the PS1, the PS2, and the NES. And I chose those 3 systems because, off the top of my head, they have the largest libraries I can think of. This is excluding the Commodore 64. You know what I mean? Where where there were thousands of games, but they were little tiny games and stuff like that. Right. Or maybe Atari 2600 or something. I don't know. I'm gonna assume somehow in this hypothetical that space is not an issue either. Like, I have all the games in some massive storage bin somewhere, and I can take them out whenever I want. It's not the music. I do like your layout, though, of for some reason, when anyone plays any music, I personally only hear Dig Diggity Dog. That sounds like a nightmare. Like, you know how, if you've ever kept a dream log, where you have like really weird dreams and crazy stuff happens that you can't really explain, that's what that sounds like. It sounds like a fever dream. Hey, I got this old Led Zeppelin tape. Check it out. This is my favorite part. And then they turn it up. Dig diggity dog. That is insanity right there. Oh, golly. Yeah, that's a lot of work. Would I lose my regular job because I'd have to be live streaming Life is Strange for 40 hours a week? I could do playing a bad game as a task, right? I work in IT. That's pretty close to playing a bad game for 40 hours a week as a task. I think I could do that. But the combination of having to do that and dealing with the music and ultimately having to find a new job at the end of all that, let's just assume that like my family is paid for somehow while I'm doing all this. I don't know. The loss of time sounds very scary to me. I like it though. I like that you thought out of the box for a good hypothetical. That's good stuff, man. Death Adder, man, I hope you're doing well. I'm not sure if I said that to Desm either when Desm left a comment. Desm, brother, I hope you're doing well also. I've been enjoying your work via SoundCloud since I started farting around on SoundCloud recently. Mechamenace writes, Analog Pocket is the beast of all Game Boys. The screen resolution is 1600 by 1440 with 615 pixels per inch, allowing it to accurately represent LCD issues of the originals, grid patterns, ghosting, subpixel patterns, other modes which users attempt. That's the thing. The device has more than one FPGA inside. The Pocket was built with a mod community in mind. The first FPGA is programmed to accurately recreate the gates on Game Boys. It is an emulation. This is the modding this thing will allow is similar to RetroArch and its user-created shader modes. That's only what I can think of right now. I'm sure you can do more. These things are always hacked to allow accurate play of other consoles and use ROMs. I didn't mention the Game Gear, Neo Geo Pocket Color, or Lynx adapters. It's a real bummer that those are optional. A big bummer that the dock is not being included in the package. I think Analog cut it due to cost. FPGA are very expensive. By the way, I must also mention the built-in audio creation app Nano Loop. I know you're familiar with that. There's a bunch of cables that allow you to hook it up to other hardware. That is pretty sweet. We'll get back to that in a minute, but I want to finish the comment on this one. A rechargeable, long-lasting battery, instant sleep and wake compatibility with all original handheld accessories, a Game Boy Dev Suite, wired and wireless controller support. This thing is a beast. Not announced. but you know someone is going to create a save state and Game Genie support. So can I put you down for a pocket, a dock, and cart adapters, MIDI cable, hard case, and screen protector? So what's that going to be altogether? $500? I don't know, man. That really sounds like a lot of fun. Well, that's a lot of money, bro. That's a lot of cheddar. It is cool that it has Nano Loop in it. Nano Loop, you gotta understand, in 2010, when I was, I think at peak into chiptunes, you could buy a flash card for the Game Boy, which I have one of these things. And there was a very popular homebrew Game Boy game called LSDJ, Little Sound DJ. And this is a chiptune tracker, as they call it. The idea is it's music composition software. And at the time, you could get the ROM for like $2. I think now it's gone up to $5, but it's still around. You could get the ROM and you could play it on an emulator on your computer. Or if you bought one of these flash cards, you could play it on an actual Game Boy. Very, very popular thing to do. Now, at the time, Nano Loop was around back in 2010. But Nano Loop did not have the same, availability. You couldn't just go to the site and buy a ROM for a couple of bucks. You had to buy a cart. And the carts for Nano Loop, jeez, were like $100. And people bought them, I don't know. Years later, Nano Loop turned up on the Google Play library and probably iOS as well. So I have it on my phone for $2, but Nano Loop, yeah, that's a piece of history. It's weird software. It's, in my opinion, very hard to use. But you can do some cool things with it. It's nice that they built it in with the system. It's kind of a bummer that they didn't build in LSDJ, because that is a much more powerful piece of software. That would have been really cool. But yeah, the real problem is essentially all of the super awesome items being optional. The dock and the cart adapters and all that stuff. It's, I don't know, man. Realistically, I don't see it happening. Not for me. Yeah, but that does sound like a great product. Mecha Menace also writes, don't buy those Sega 32X CD games. Utter crap FMV games. The 32X was around $40 to $50. It's creeping up to $60 and $80. Then global chaos hit, and it sent the video game market into a spasm. I thought you would quote $100, but you said 140 shipped. Wow. If you end up with a 38-2X in your lap, since using a Model 2 Sega Genesis, I recommend going with the VA3 board version of the Sega Genesis Model 2. The reason is that being the Model 2 Genesis has compatibility issues with some games. I'm more familiar with the compatibility issues of Knuckles Chaotix plug. I did a video about it. Here's the link. If you get a VA3 revision model of Model 2 Sega Genesis, specifically go for the manufactured in Japan. They use better video and sound chips. Do you know what board you are running? I do not. If not, open it up and check. Also, take a look at the video encoder located in the upper left corner near the power port. And also, take a look at the amps. Those vary in location. Sony video encoders are the best. They will say Sony 1145, Sony 1645, or something like that, similar on the chip. Recommendations for the 32X. Knuckles Chaotix, an experiment in what it means to be a Sonic game, but the level design is a heck of a lot better than Sonic CD, and the music is supreme. Colibri, it's an Echo game because it was made by the Echo people. Star Wars Arcade offers multiple runs of different types of large battleships. Go inside a Super Star Destroyer. Supports 2 players. One person is the pilot, one is the gunner. You get to hear Commander Fishface talking, moving his lips too. Very excite. Virtual Fighter, I'm not a fighter fan, but this is good. Virtual Racing Deluxe. if only for the announcer. Time bonus. If you're playing a lot of 32X, you can get absorbed in this simple racer. Zaxxon Mother Base. It's Zaxxon, but with a weird ship docking, power stealing, and robot bug theme. It's weird. Blackthorn. It's Flashback. Play it. Maybe on your second run, find Lost Vikings and let it be and come back to it when you forget about it. It's an adventure game, so it's very linear. Afterburner, I need this one. I only got into Afterburner after playing Afterburner Climax, but this runs better, runs butter smooth and looks intense. Shadow Squadron. It's like Space Battles and Colony Wars on the PS1. It's not quite as arcadey as Rogue Squadron series, unfortunately. Although the slingshot sequence and jump to hyperspace is something I'd like to see in more shooters and anime-inspired games, which I guess take their inspiration from launching jets off aircraft carriers at sea. Games people will tell you to get, but you do not want. Metalhead, slow, boring, weak trip. When you get to pilot a mech, you want a power trip. This is like Faceball 2000 with a bad paint job. Pitfall, the Mayan Adventure. You might not catch it from screenshots, but this port looks amazing. Having played all the ports myself except PC. However, it runs choppy and will make you screw up. I think I read that as it runs half the frame rate of all the other ports. T-Mac, bad Battlezone. I don't mean Michael Jackson's take on bad. I mean most non-triumphant, bogus, heinous. I think people are just reaching when they mention T-Mac. They really want more 32X, but the 32X didn't get a lot of time under the sun. Doom. It's Doom in an itty-bitty living space. I want pure solar 32X homebrew, dang it. You know, it's funny you mentioned Doom, because whenever I think of Doom on the 32X, I usually think of Gooch and the Douchebags' interpretation of Doom. Where a lot of fart noises and Hanson music playing in the background. Thanks for that breakdown to the 32X, man. Dropping a lot of knowledge. Always good to hear from a video game connoisseur of sorts. Macamenus brother, I hope you're doing well. Gaming Beast 82 writes in the case for video game goals, I still have some big ones. Finishing all the games that I call the holy trinity of CRPGs, Wizardry, Ultima, and Might and Magic. I made some progress in it, but there's a good chance I'll never achieve that. Probably will give up at the latest Wizardry 4. Lol. I think you finishing a JRPG is a great idea and doable, as long as you only play that game when you have time. Maybe when you choose a shorter one. Secret of Mana is great. You can beat it in about plus or minus 20 hours. Try howlongtobeat.com and see how long it takes to beat. I use it all the time to see if a game will be too long, and if I feel it's too long, I check for a shorter one. Arx Fatalis is also a game I would recommend to you. It plays like a better Morrowind, but it's shorter, more linear, and you can beat it in 20 to 30 hours. Quick break from the comment to address that. I tried Arx Fatalis. I even installed Arx Libertatis, which is like the modern day source port you told me about. I couldn't get anywhere in it. I tried a few times to get out of the dungeon at the beginning, and I couldn't get anywhere in it. I don't know. There's a couple of games where it's like playing Super Mario Brothers and losing to that first Goomba. If you can't get past that first Goomba, then you can't enjoy Super Mario Brothers. You know what I mean? That's me in Arx Fatalis. But let's get back to the comment. Civ 2, maybe. Right now, I'd rather focus on a long-running Alpha Centauri game. After that, who knows? Island Question. I do remember that Island Question popping up in older episodes. Good times. PS2 seems like a good choice for variety for sure. I would choose games that I can play over and over and not get tired of. It would be a SNES, and the 5 games would be Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, Tetris and Dr. Mario, Super Metroid, Final Fight 2, and Secret of Mana. Describing modern game design, especially mobile games, being designed by dopamine loop experts is absolutely hilarious and true. I do agree. The C64 games of the era were the Wild West of off-the-walls creativity. I think that creativity started dying with the beginning of the PlayStation era, sad to say. I don't think it will change anytime soon when it comes to AAA gaming, but the indie scene has the spirit. Anyway, good podcast. Thank you for doing them, even though you're a super busy September schedule. Man, it's good to hear from you, and I hope you're doing well. I agree with you that it's still alive on the indie scene. This is one of the reasons why I got so into it back when I was doing Tiger Claw TV and I was doing essay videos and stuff like that, I just wanted to look for free games. I didn't have the money to get into the commercial gaming scene. And when I dug in to try and find games you could get for free, what I found was the indie scene. And there was a well of creativity. It's still there. It's still there, but it's not... It is not what we commonly think of when we think of the video game industry. It's not the video game industry. Creativity still exists within like a group of people outside what we think of as the video game industry. It's very strange. But it is worth checking out. I don't even know how you do it anymore, because I think TigSource died, didn't it? TigSource was like the big forum cultural hub for this sort of thing back in the Tiger Claw TV days. Yeah, it's still around. I still see, even not looking for it, I still see little whiffs of it's like, this is this little tiny indie game that does this really cool thing. You know? It's still out there. But it's gone back to what it used to be, right? You think back to like Commander Keen days. Commander Keen was developed by like 2 people using work hardware. That's what happens now. It's just like 1 or maybe 2 people. They develop a little program using a couple of tools, and then there you go. It's exactly as it was before, only now it exists as an underground amalgamation compared to the actual video game industry. I don't know. In my head, that's the way I think of it. I'd have to go back digging for free games, which is something I'd like to do in October, but I can't promise that I'll do it because... I'd have to write it down. I don't know. I can see myself forgetting this as soon as I say it. But I would love to go back and just dig up free games again just to see what's there, like I used to. I haven't had to do it in a while because now I have a Steam backlog that stretches back past a decade. But before I had that, you know, I spent a long time. I would go to the indie game blogs. The indie game blogs... I can't even remember what the name of that site is. I think it was just the Indie Games blog. Would have like top 10 best free games, best freeware games every year, and then you could see like the past 10 years and stuff. What games people really dug. Ludum Dare is still around. I think they do that every 3 months, right? Hundreds of games come out that are just free to play in a browser. Yeah, so creativity's there, but creativity is very difficult to monetize right now. So it is what it is. Alex Swingle writes, 59 minutes in. I got a hint for everybody. If you are never prepared to afford a child, you might even have a daily dollar budget in your place until you learn Spanky is full-blown special needs child. And the cost goes up 500%. Plus, once you have kids, you learn to stop having childlike wonder and love what you got. Making things like collecting seems stupid, or maybe it just seems like an age thing. Considering I don't have kids, but around the age of 25, I became a living example of what I'm stating now. Lashing out against collectors. Yeah, you know, I guess I'm on board with some of that. I don't lash out on collectors. I don't think collectors have it wrong. I just think collectors look at things differently from me. Now, I had to be told that. I think it was Mechamanus who set me straight on that one. It was either Mechamanus or Des. I was like, look, it's just different. It's a different mentality. They want different things. But I still collected things with children. You gotta be careful about it. You know, you got to work off a budget. That's why last time I talked to Alex Swingle, he kind of razzed me a little bit because whenever I talk about buying things, I always sound like a teenager because I get my allowance. But that's it, man. That's how you deal with a responsible spending budget. That's how I can buy something expensive and still, you know, provide for my children, is by just taking a little tiny bit for myself, and that's it. Although I would recommend, if you do that, get a real account and actually deposit, you know, $5 a week, $10 a week, whatever it is, into a real account that you can move around instead of just trying to keep track of it on paper. Because if you just keep track of it on paper and you save up $200 or $300, when you actually want to spend something, you got to go back into your regular funds and pull $200 or $300 out. That's a little adulting financial tip that we figured out that made things a lot easier. But he goes on. One more thing. My initial response to the PS4 thing in my last console generation wasn't damnation of a PC Master Race enthusiast. I'm sick and tired of everything being crappier than it used to be. Windows 10 is garbage, tolerable garbage. I may skip Windows 10, even under the supposed caveat that Windows 10 is the last OS. It won't be the last Windows OS because they haven't answered the question of how will they earn money while updating their software every year. It'll probably be the case of we'll stop calling it Windows after 10. I've been progressively suffering from more software failures every generation of PC gaming, PC and console. I'm not a Luddite where I opine for the earlier systems like Atari, but I'm more than fine with being stuck in the year 2012 for the rest of my life if the current standard will stay in place. Yeah, I hear that. Video games went to a weird place, man. They really did. I see some amazing things come out in the video game industry, but I also see a lot of companies trying to take advantage of sickness. Do you know what I mean? It's like people with video games out there are individuals who like have a serious problem, just because when it comes to things, there's always people who overdo it. And I see game companies like trying to optimize those people, and that really kind of makes me sad inside a little bit. Especially these big companies, I think, are the worst. But you didn't answer the real question, Alex. And that's this. If you were stuck on a desert island, and you had to build your battle armor out of a single console, as many copies of that console as you want, which console would you use to build your battle armor? Would you go for maximum armor and use something like the Super Nintendo, or would you want movability, like maybe chain link mesh armor made entirely out of Model 3 Sega Genesises? That is the real question. Demrock writes, some retro gaming news for the next episode. Herzog Zwei is released on the Switch, has been released on the Switch for $8. In case you missed it, Panzer Dragoon has been remade for the Switch back in March. It's currently on sale for $17. Chips Challenge is free on Steam. I'm going to be honest, I know this kind of makes me a jerk, but I was a little bit miffed to hear that Chips Challenge is now free on Steam, because I bought Chips Challenge with real money day one on Steam when it came out. Because it was released on Steam for like $5, I think. And it was released by the person who actually developed Chips Challenge. Because there was this whole thing about how Chips Challenge 2 was like a game he made 20 years ago, but because of rights issues he could never release it. And now it's finally out. So it's not just that he made a game 20 years after the original. It is the actual original sequel that just never saw the light of day. I was really excited. Yeah, I paid money for it. I don't know. I don't like being that guy, though. It's good that it's free so that everyone else can enjoy it. And even having that had happened in the past, I'm glad I was able to put $1 or $2 in the pocket of the guy who made the game. Because it was the guy who made the game, and not just like somebody who acquired the rights to Chips Challenge over the years. Liftner Limited, it says. I got 3.8 hours out of this game. I don't remember getting that much out of it, but that's pretty cool. I think my kids must have played it. That's probably it. My review from June 30th, 2019. Still the Chips Challenge you know and love from Windows 3.1. That's right. A lot of people had it on Windows 3.1 back in those days. Good times. Alright, how we doing? We're an hour in. It is now 6:41. I gotta work in about 19 minutes. And We made it, boys and girls. Not only did we make it through another episode, but this is it. When we meet again, it's going to be October, and I'm going to have time to chill out, have a good time. We're going to catch up. It'll be great. I can't wait. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me through September. And the technical issues we had last week of trying to get the show up. I appreciate it. I am wishing you all the best in the world, and I truly mean that from the bottom of my heart. I hope life is good, and if it's not good, I hope you're sticking to it. Don't lose hope. Keep that spark alive, man. Keep getting out of bed in the morning. Keep getting to work. Keep doing whatever it is you got to do. You know, put that mask on. Stay healthy. Don't get sick. Take care of yourself. Live a long time so that we can have messy, ugly arguments in the future. All right? Take care of yourselves. Be healthy. I'll see you next week.